When you're a child, there are so many things that can frighten you, including spiders. The British animated show Peppa Pig set out to tackle this problem by teaching its young and impressionable audience that while spiders might seem scary, they cannot actually hurt you. The well-intentioned message was positively received in Britain, since spiders in the UK are not poisonous. However, for viewers in Australia, where spiders actually can kill you, this was a deadly message. Luckily, Australian broadcasters saw the potential disaster brewing and deemed it unsuitable for public safety. Later on, broadcasters all over the world followed in suit and axed the episode as well. The 90s anime Sailor Moon follows the story of a group of young women who've been given superpowers and have been tasked with saving the world. Once the show proved to be quite popular among its Japanese audience, the producers then brought the Sailor Moon series to foreign countries in order to further its success. For the most part, it was an absolute phenomenon. Children worldwide tuned in weekly to watch the newest episode. However, most fans probably don't know that some themes were too inappropriate for children and were therefore heavily censored, most of them due to harsh language or implied nudity. But the episodes that were recurrently banned or censored usually were the ones where they depicted the romantic relationship between Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune a little too intimately. Many fans may never realize that in its original form, Sailors Neptune and Uranus aren't just friends, they're lovers. Rather than deal with a lesbian relationship in a cartoon, other countries came up with some strange solutions. For example, for English audiences, the pair were written as cousins, which made their flirting and excessive touching even more unsettling. In Russia and France, Sailor Uranus' civilian form was claimed to be a man, with Neptune pretending to be his girlfriend to keep their superhero identities a secret, even going so far as hiring a male voice actor for the part. Tailspin, the Disney series that took the animated animal stars from the Jungle Book movie and plopped them into the world of commercial air transport. With Baloo as its protagonist and airplane pilot, it's hard to take the show seriously, which might be the reason it only had one season. The final episode of the series has Baloo deliver a bomb to a foreign leader's home, in hopes that the resulting war would mean high profits for bomb makers. Baloo didn't even know he was attempting an assassination, but the terrorist themes and transport of a bomb on an airplane alone made it hard to believe it actually made it to air. Rumors have it that the creators and writers wrote the episode out of spite because Disney canceled the series. Little did they know it killed any chance of having the series revived, and unsurprisingly, Disney permanently banned the episode shortly after. Another issue episode that was tackled by an animated series that proved to be a little too harsh for the network was One Beer episodes from the Tiny Toon Adventures, starring Buster Bunny, Plucky Duck, and Hampton J. Pig. The trio experience the dangers of drinking firsthand. Passing around the titular single bottle, they immediately become intoxicated and are suddenly dressed like stereotypical homeless people. At this point, most cartoons would have wrapped up the story with the group being ashamed of their action and possibly hungover, finally with the characters swearing to never drink again. However, One Beer wasn't so cut and dry. The Toons proceed to steal a car, drive it off a cliff, and plummet to their deaths. The show attempts to lighten the blow by having a final scene where the characters emerge unscathed onto a set and talk about how they plan on doing a funny cartoon next time. But it wasn't enough to soften the episode's harshness. Before it could be aired even once, broadcasters all over the world pulled it from rotation. Gargoyles is an American animated cult hit that was produced by Walt Disney Television Animation and aired on the Disney Channel from October 24, 1994 to February 15, 1997. The series features an sentient mythical species of nocturnal creatures known as gargoyles, taking on roles as the city's secret nighttime protectors. The show often tries to teach kids life lessons. Unfortunately, sometimes when trying to teach kids a lesson, the show ended up becoming more shocking than helpful. Playing off the idea that violent movies and video games glorify violence and guns, the writers got the bright idea to create an episode where the not-too-bright member of the Gargoyles Broadway learns that guns aren't toys to be played with, and in the most shocking and traumatic way possible. While playing with a service weapon of the group's human ally Eliza, Broadway underestimates the handgun and ends up shooting her in the stomach by accident, severely wounding her. Understandably, parents and protest groups complained about their kids watching a beloved cartoon hero shoot a woman and put her in intensive care. The episode was banned for re-airings, but was recently returned to the rotation for an unknown reason. Ren and Stimpy, a show about the daily life of a short-tempered chihuahua and dim-witted and happy-go-lucky cat, was already a show that pushed the envelope and depicted some truly disgusting material, like bathroom humor, bodily fluids, and repeatedly creating uncomfortable situations. But the episode that ultimately proved to be the straw that broke the camel's back was when Ren the Chihuahua beat up his new owner with a boat oar. The whole ordeal was animated graphically, with each hit glorifying the violent manner. Ren beating up his new owner was apparently enough to get this episode yanked off the air for 11 years. In 1993, the popular show Beavis and Butthead released a not-so-controversial episode about these two cartoon characters once again getting themselves into some shenanigans that resulted in a comedy club burning down. This was a pretty typical episode and absolutely no public outrage resulted from it. So in other words, there should be no reason for a broadcaster to pull the episode, right? Except for the fact that a lone 5-year-old kid after watching the episode became inspired by the fictional events, and he set fire to his trailer, burning the whole thing to the ground and killing his baby sister who was sleeping in the next room. In respect for the family, MTV pulled the episode for many years. When it did return, all references to the comedy club burning were removed, but eventually they just removed the episode entirely, which is probably for the best. Just like many previously mentioned shows, Pokemon animated series enjoys teaching its young viewers life lessons. But in the episode Beauty and the Beach, the message must have been lost in translation, because the entire episode seems to be mainly focused on harping on beauty standards and shaming anyone who doesn't fit into the narrow specifics. In this episode, the female characters all enter a beauty contest. Team Rocket also enters, with James donning a suit with inflatable breasts. One scene of the episode involves James showing off his artificial breasts for humorous effect, taunting Misty by saying maybe one day when you're older you'll have a chest like this. In one scene, he puffs up his breasts to over twice their original size. There were a number of other sexualized scenes as well, such as one in which Ash and Brock are stunned at the sight of Misty in a bikini, and another scene where a much older man appears to be obsessively attracted to her. Not a healthy image to don on young children. The episode was only aired once in Japan before it was removed, and any attempts to salvage it for viewing in foreign countries proved to be useless. Buffalo Gals is a banned episode from The Cow and Chicken Show. The episode, which aired initially on February 20th, 1998, along with the follow-up segment Cow and Chicken Reclining, was banned by Cartoon Network because of its heavily implied implications that made it more than clear that the Buffalo Gals, a gang of motorcycle riders, are lesbians. Not only that, they are a very stereotypical type of butch lesbians. The episode contained obvious sexual innuendos, which include lines like, "Oh, the Buffalo Gals, a motorcycle riding gang that randomly breaks into people's homes and chews on their carpets." Another scandalous moment happens when the Buffalo Gals are playing softball and talking about pitching and catching, which are slang terms for sex. The writers of the Powerpuff Girls series were never ones to shy away from tackling serious issues, although sometimes the topics they chose were a little too serious for cable TV, which is what could be said for the episode See Me, Feel Me, Know Me. The episode in question is a musical rock opera episode that aired just one time in the UK and surrounding regions, due to the underlying plot device comparing communism to democracy. The Powerpuff Girls are at the brink of defeat against all of the villains, when just then a single drop of water falls from the sky into a crack in the ground, and out comes a gnome, who tells the girls that he can get rid of all the world's evil, but to do so the girls must give him their powers. The girls agree, and the gnome casts a spell ridding the world of any wrongdoers. Townsville is now seemingly a peaceful and harmonious utopia. All the townspeople worship this gnome for his amazing gift to society. Soon worship turns to obsession, and the town forms a cult devoted to just him. The professor, seeing through his sham, convinces the girls that even though the gnome has provided safety, he has robbed the town of its free will. Now realizing the gnome has become evil, the deal they made is broken and the girls regain their powers. The girls travel to the gnome's headquarters and confront him, returning the world to the way it was. Obviously, a topic as sensitive as communism was a poor choice for a children's show. So after airing only one time, the backlash it received earned this episode a permanent ban.